We've had a Victim Rights Act for around 30 years.
Victims' rights abused.
It's never come to this.
Criminals let off with questionable deals.
And we've got to make sure this doesn't happen again.
A district attorney resigns in controversy.
That office deserves a new chapter. And what had happened under the prior leadership, it was just awful.
Tonight, Denver 7 Investigates is uncovering new concerns as the state tries to fix a broken office.
This situation is unlike anyone we've seen.
Colorado's attorney general says he's never seen the rights of victimized people so horribly trampled upon. And the person responsible, one of the state's top prosecutors.
Our investigative team has been telling you for months about the many complaints against San Luis Valley District Attorney Alonzo Payne. He resigned after our reporting.
And tonight, AG Phil Weiser is talking to investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski about more violations he's uncovered and the actions he's taking to restore justice in the valley.
Do you have any plans to resign as they're asking you to do?
No, hell no.
He was adamant when we first met him, and he doubled down the next day.
City leaders are calling on you to resign.
I'm not going to do that. I'm elected.
But less than 3 months after our interview, with public pressure mounting,
He needs to resign and realize that he is not capable of doing this job.
a recall election funded by the city of Alamosa,
Our sincere hope is that he's recalled.
and Colorado's attorney general finding his office ignored and mistreated crime victims.
In the entirety of the Victims' Rights Act in Colorado history, we've never gotten to this point before.
12th Judicial District Attorney Alonzo Payne responded. He changed his position and resigned, writing in his resignation letter, "It is apparent to me that the elite in the San Luis Valley and the judicial activists amongst us do not want to see criminal justice reform enacted."
Your thoughts on District Attorney Payne's resignation letter?
I'm glad that District Attorney Payne stepped down. It was the best thing for the community. This community needs a new start.
Attorney General Phil Weiser didn't want to comment on the substance of the former DA's resignation letter. Instead, he says his office is now focused on repairing the damage.
One of the challenges is there was damage that was done that can't be undone. A plea deal that's been agreed to is locked in. What we can do is going forward, build better practices.
Denver 7 Investigates spent months exposing the DA's questionable plea deals and how his office failed to notify crime victims as required by law.
This situation is unlike anyone we've seen. Victims were not listened to. They were not treated respectfully. They were not told about the critical stages of the criminal justice process.
What do I think about him? I don't think I should say that.
I was disregarded. They made us feel like our mom's life didn't matter.
The AG's office will now serve in an interim role to fix the valley's criminal justice system. Since the DA's resignation, Weiser's team has already uncovered more problems, including a backlog of at least 500 cases.
That's going to take time. And unfortunately, the valley is hurting right now, and we are asking people to be patient while that office gets rebuilt.
While Colorado's Attorney General works to rebuild the DA's office in Alamosa, it is now the governor's responsibility to appoint a new interim district attorney.
What happened is a cautionary tale. It is unprecedented. It's terrible that victims suffered the way they did.
What do you want victims in the San Luis Valley to know?
I want victims to know how sorry we are about what they went through. No victim should have their rights violated.
Weiser says his team is committed to crime victims and a new chapter for prosecution in the San Luis Valley.
This was an exceptional situation. It's never happened before. We can never let it happen again.
There are still questions on if the former district attorney could face punishment. The attorney general wouldn't comment, but any discipline would come from the state Supreme Court. Payne still has an active license to practice law in Colorado. I'm Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski.
And last week, Governor Polis announced a new panel that will review applications to appoint an interim DA for the 12th Judicial District. Interviews start next month. Now, in the meantime, the Attorney General Weiser will oversee that office. Now, this is a story Jennifer Kovaleski and the rest of the Denver 7 investigative team have worked on for months. And you can find complete reporting from them right now on thedenverchannel.com.
New tonight, the 2 people found shot to death at a home in Loveland have been identified. According to a GoFundMe set up by a family member, the victims are a mother and daughter. The Larimer County Coroner's Office says 41-year-old Lindsay Dahm and 16-year-old Meadow Sinner both died from multiple gunshot wounds. They were found last Thursday by officers responding to a 911 call from a 12-year-old reporting their mother had been shot. Police say the suspect in the case died by suicide that same day. Now, that GoFundMe, set up to help the other children of Lindsay Dahm, has raised more than $30,000 in just 2 days. And you can find a link to it at thedenverchannel.com.
Well, tonight, Denver police are looking for the suspect in a deadly shooting on I-70. Dashcam video shared by a witness shows the driver of a stolen pickup shooting at a Subaru. This is Sunday night near Quebec. The driver of that Subaru, Kevin Piaskowski, died from his injuries.
This is clearly a tragic, senseless act of violence that has, taken one of our community members, one of our neighbors away from us.
The driver of the truck lost control and crashed into a semi and then ran from the scene. And tonight, police are urging any witness, anyone with information, please reach out to Denver Crime Stoppers.
Gasoline prices continue to fall in Colorado, according to AAA. The statewide average for a gallon of regular is now at $4.40. And that's actually a $0.50 cheaper than just 1 month ago. Of course, despite that drop, gas prices are still a little more than 84 cents higher than this time last year. And that has crooks stealing gas directly from people's cars.
And today, Denver 7's CB Cotton talked to a woman who said it happened to her.
It was stomach churning.
A scary start to a Saturday.
So I started getting really paranoid.
And this woman named Maggie says it all began after she got behind the wheel.
Absolutely.
This young woman had no idea something was wrong with her car until she made it here, University Boulevard. Then all of a sudden, her fuel gauge dropped to empty.
I kept on smelling gas coming out of my vents, and that's when we saw the mileage go down. I thought we were gonna stop. I didn't even know we were gonna make it to the gas station.
But she was able to pull her car over safely off the roadway, and what she discovered was something sinister.
I saw a giant puddle of gasoline just pouring from the bottom of my car.
She says someone drilled a hole into her car's fuel tank. She suspects it happened early Saturday morning between 3 and 4 a.m. while her car was parked underneath this carport at her Inglewood apartment complex.
It took about 3 or 4 swipes before they could actually puncture and penetrate my gas tank.
Inglewood police say Maggie isn't the only one who has experienced this. Officers telling Denver 7 they've had more gas thefts this year, with thieves using a similar methodology, drilling, which makes repairs more expensive.
For about $20 worth of gas, they caused me about $1,000 in damage.
Back in June, Denver 7 told you about this woman who, while pumping gas, discovered a hole had been drilled into her tank. At the time, Aurora police saying they had at least 18 reports of similar incidents.
Since insurance could cover it, that's still about $2,000 through insurance.
And in early July, we reported on 200 gallons of diesel stolen from a parked semi in Lakewood. Now, Maggie is among the victims. In addition to her car's repairs, she's also purchased new cameras in hopes to prevent this from happening again.
Protect yourselves. Purchase that security camera that you may have been considering. Purchase those motion censored floodlights. Anything to deter criminals away. People are desperate and now they are turning to crime.
In Inglewood, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
A new plan to combat a rapidly growing crime in Denver. Numbers from Denver police show catalytic converter thefts rose roughly 900% from 2020 to 2021. Through July 5th, more than 1,300 catalytic converters were reported stolen or missing this year. Well, tonight, Denver City Council approved a first reading on an ordinance to crack down on these thefts. It would require auto part dealers purchasing secondhand catalytic converters to report the purchase within 1 business day. Dealers would also have to require a photo ID from the seller and either take a picture of that ID or write down information. Denver City Council now must pass a second reading of the ordinance before it could go into law.
All right, we are exactly 6 weeks away now from Broncos kicking off the 2022 season against the Seahawks, and it's right here on Denver 7.
Now tomorrow, single game tickets go on sale, including 2,000 of those coveted half-price seats. And tonight, Denver 7's Danny New has tips to make sure you get the tickets you want.
The Broncos have sold out 393 consecutive regular season games, which can be intimidating for fans who want to attend one, especially during this highly hyped year. However, tomorrow morning will be your best chance to find affordable tickets. When the clock strikes 10 a.m. tomorrow, Ticketmaster will make 2,000 half-price tickets available for each home game this season. Oh, I sound like Willy Wonka right now. As you can imagine, they typically go really fast, but here's some advice ahead of time from a writer named Laura Daly, who runs milehighonthecheap.com. Here we go. Tip number 1, register with Ticketmaster ahead of time. Number 2, figure out which game you want beforehand because you can only pick one. Number 3, don't try to buy too many seats. It is limited to 4 per household. Number 4, get to the site before 10 a.m. And number 5, remember to have fun. Just kidding. This is war. Not really. In fact, Laura says to stay positive.
It always feels like a long shot, but I will tell you that every year we hear from Mile High on the Cheap readers who say they scored some tickets. So it does happen.
And I should mention there are also full price tickets going on sale tomorrow in case you're the person who won the Mega Millions. We'll have a link for you on thedenverchannel.com. In studio, Danny New, Denver 7.
Ready to bounce back in more ways than one.
At one point, I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be in this world.
Broncos receiver KJ Hamler opens up about his battle with depression, his message of hope for others going through dark times.
God gave me the strength just to get out that hole.
Plus, food truck vendors barred from lower downtown take their frustrations to city leaders.
Temperatures heating up quickly again tomorrow, back in the 90s for the afternoon. I'll let you know when we'll see some rain as well.